So you enjoy smoking cigars. You want to take your experience to the next level, you have to go to a cigar lounge. Now in doing so, there's some do's and don'ts we're about to take you through so that you can maximize your cigar lounge experience. You're watching The Professional Amateurs.
BATA.
BATA. As always, we've got Tracy, we've got my dad, we've got my dad back. And joining us on The Professional Amateurs today, I got my best friend from college, Tyler Sten, and I've got a buddy of mine from high school, Joe Moriarty.
That's Dr. Moriarty.
We got Dr. Moriarty here.
And I am just an eye doctor, so if you have a heart attack, still call 911.
But cigars are doctor approved.
That's right. We have medical approval for this.
That's right.
Moderation.
In
Moderation.
Always in moderation. So, to get this ball rolling, Dad's gonna list us off some of the don'ts, the things not to do when you roll into a cigar lounge. Again, we're here to maximize your cigar lounge experience. These are what you do not want to do. Take it away, Dad.
Right. You don't want to do these. This is not exhaustive, but it's a good list. I don't like being negative, but you need to know this right away. Real quickly, don't be intimidated. Don't smoke something there you didn't buy there. Don't handle the cigars until you are buying them, especially if they're unwrapped. Don't pre-moisten your cap when you're using a community cup. Don't ash on the floor or the chair. Pay attention. Do not smoke in the humidor. That's not a place to smoke. Only be lit. Don't spit, at least on the floor. And maybe one of the biggest rules: don't wear a Biden shirt.
BATA.
Brad, when you're talking about never being to a cigar lounge before, I've never been to one.
Right, yep.
And you're talking about don't be intimidated
Right.
when you go in.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, so you just get into cigars, and we were just talking a minute ago, you've been buying some from a club online. You haven't been into a lounge where other people are at. It happened to me. I think it happens to everybody. You walk in, there's a lot of regulars. They're sitting around, they're having a conversation, they're playing cards, they're doing all this. They know the bartender.
It's like the first time you walk into a gym or a middle school fucking mixer.
Yeah,
Yeah, it really is.
Whoa. My mixers got better after I left. But yeah, so you walk in and there's regulars there, and immediately they all look at you. And you're like, oh man, I'm just barely knowing cigars. I don't even know. Like,
did I do something wrong already?
Yeah, does somebody jump up? Yeah, I'm already stepping on someone's toes right away. And it's funny, after being a cigar lounge now for a long time, it's the exact opposite. The best thing you can do is walk in, and if the manager or we call them cigar sommeliers because no one can tell me a better term yet. If someone doesn't come up to you right away, look, a dude sitting there comfortable, not in his newspaper, ask him, hey, they will go nuts helping.
But most of the sommeliers, the cigar dudes,
or gals.
Yeah, or gals. There's some badass chicks out there that can kick my ass in cigar knowledge. No, but most of the time, you've got that look. You can tell you're new to there. They'll jump right up.
Yeah, they really will. So
sharing a passion.
You feel uncomfortable right away when you walk in there, and that's the last thing we want you to feel when you walk into a cigar lounge. We want you excited. We want you happy because you've made a decision. And if you're like me, you've probably driven by 2 or 3 times and you looked at all the people in there and said, you know what, I'll go back to the internet and get this, or I'll go back to someplace else. A smoke shop that
sometimes we don't look the friendliest. It can be deceiving.
Oh, and, hey, well, look, some of the people in the cigar lounge are the most unattractive people in the world. They're some of the best people in the world. I'm just kidding. It's, you walk in and they're all walks of life,
And the only thing you might jump out there, you do kind of have an idea of a dress code. So here, hell, half the time I'm shirtless. But shocker. No, when we take you to the Southside Cigar Lounge, I'm gonna dress just like this. But when we go to Burn, or there's some areas, you just gotta know your area, and it's not being snobby or anything like that. But it makes a good experience if you gotta put a sport coat on or wear a tie.
It's like different restaurants.
Just exactly.
There's nothing wrong with going to a casual restaurant, but sometimes it's nice to get a little dressed up.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice to make an intentional movement. Everything I'm doing today is going to be culminated. We're going to this not necessarily higher end, although sometimes it is, but it's just you're going there for a little different mindset.
Yeah.
You just roll in and bullshit with the boys. You're going to roll in and bullshit with the boys in a little nicer chair, wearing something better.
But
And the gals.
but don't be, again, the whole intimidated by a cigar lounge. Don't be intimidated by the dress code of that cigar lounge.
You will find
code loosely.
the second time you walk into that cigar lounge, you will laugh at yourself for ever being intimidated because it's about the friendliest place you're going to find. Friendlier than bars, by far. If it's just a straight up bar, some are friendly, some aren't. Definitely friendlier than if you go into some gyms and things like that. Once you have gone into a cigar lounge the second time, those dudes will want to know your name, social security number. So
Main names, that all
Right.
comes up.
So, but once you go in there, there's some other rules you don't want to do. So Tracy, you go into a cigar lounge. I think the next number, the biggest don't do, because it's a business, it's their business, it's that man or woman's hard-earned work. What's the next thing you don't do?
Don't bring your own stick into the shop. You're there to enjoy this new experience, try something new, get out of your comfort zone a little bit maybe, but don't bring your own stick. That's like taking your own food to Chili's or someplace like that to eat. I mean, you just, you don't walk into a bar carrying a 6-pack. Not only is it against the law, but you're there to purchase their product. And
we want cigar lounges. If we start doing that shit, that's how they make their money. We want them to stay open.
All jokes aside, they're there to sell cigars.
they're there to sell cigars.
It's not a public park where you bring your picnic.
Correct.
It is a place.
Place of
Now,
business.
with some of those places though, some lounges are not bars, and you can bring,
Discreetly.
discreetly, you can bring maybe some drinks in.
Don't ever go into a lounge for the first time there
Don't.
and bring your own alcoholic beverage in there. Because cigar lounges turn into almost a social club because you get to know the people, they're fun, you're gonna play cards with them, you're gonna hang out, they're gonna introduce you to their family. It's a family that you kind of go into.
Very much.
And don't roll in and be that. If it's acceptable in that area, you're gonna get offered a drink.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll figure it out. Don't ask the manager. Don't put that person on the spot because they probably can't tell you, okay. Make it the second or third time. You'll get their culture down. Maybe it's in a coffee cup. Don't bring that cooler in and slam it down there. But
You're there for an experience.
Yeah,
and they're selling the experience to you. So
Yes.
don't go in bringing your own experience to them.
Exactly.
You're going
Good
there.
point. Good point.
Just kind of pick up the vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
And once you do pick up the vibe, you'll either fit really, or you may have gone to your favorite place. There's some lounges that are great lounges that just aren't my place. I still go by there sometimes, but but support them because we need them.
Exactly. And then when you go in, you're going to start looking around, getting an idea of what you want. That's where I'm going to roll at the bow for what you don't do when you're in the humidor.
Don't do when you go in the humidor. So you're going in, obviously to smoke, you got to buy a cigar. The humidors come in literally all shapes and sizes. Some are cabinets on the wall, some are walk-ins, some are really, really big rooms that can also be intimidating.
Yeah.
Roll in and ask questions. First of all,
Shut the door behind you.
shut the door behind you. It is an environment controlled room. They keep the humidity at a certain level, the temperature at a certain level, so that those cigars stay in the prime structure to smoke, for lack of a better term. But when you roll in, if you're like me, I touch everything. I am not allowed to do that when I roll into a humidor. You have cigars. I'm talking about a walk-in humidor right now. But you walk in, same will go for a cabinet though. You're gonna have cigars in one of two ways. They're gonna be in a plastic wrap, or they're gonna be unwrapped. The blanket rule of thumb is don't touch them.
Either way.
Either way. Now you can get away sometimes if you want to look at one in plastic, but if I walk in and I see someone pick this up and look at it, this one's unwrapped, they put it back in there, my ass is not going to buy that cigar. I don't, call me a snob, call me whatever. I don't want to touch anything or smoke anything that you just put your hands on.
No, because what you do right before then, you wiped your nose, or you picked your damn nose, and you touch that cigar, you put it back. Oh, no way. Do a lot of trade shows. My
Yeah.
big cringe moment. Guy walks up to me and goes, Brian, how you been? I'm like,
Yeah, and because he's buying from you, you're gonna do it. Hand sanitizer.
Oh man.
So if you adhere to that rule, the second rule it doesn't need to be said.
Right.
But the next thing you're gonna see us. I bought these cigars. These are mine. I'm gonna smell this, and you get a lot of flavor, as we've previously talked about, from the nose.
You wouldn't want President Clinton to have a cigar, but never mind. Don't even go there.
It's just to smell like something
Oh,
else.
should we cut that?
But Dad was just talking about germs in the nose. There's a lot of germs, a lot of stuff wrong with the nose. The last thing I want is someone's nose, this area, mouth region, to be close to what I'm getting ready to put in my mouth.
Do you guys realize that's how smallpox started? People handling cigars and lounging. True story. Doctor, right?
Doctor.
Give or take.
So don't ever smell a cigar. You smell it, you buy it.
Absolutely.
And it's if the cigar dude, whatever you call
Sommelier.
it,
Wine somms, whatever.
yeah.
Come over on that.
If they catch you, and it is a habit, you pick up, you smell it, because that's what you do. Once you buy, you smell a cigar before you light it.
Right.
And you know what?
Bought it.
I'll smell it, and then I'm gonna hand it to Tyler and my dad, and they're gonna spit. I know them, call it what it is, but I don't really give a fuck about that. But if they see that in the humidor, and he says, "Excuse me, sir, you need to buy that now,"
Yeah.
that's on you. Don't be shitty.
You go crack open a bottle of bourbon, take a top off. No, I don't like it. And put it back on the shelf at the liquor store. Hell no.
Yeah, no. And again, most of your flavor comes from your nose. So, don't touch the cigars. Don't do any of that. The next thing, once you have bought a cigar, you have to cut it. And a lot of times you're going to cut inside the humidor. Sometimes you don't. It depends on how the business is set up. But it's really cool. You buy your cigar if you're cutting it, and if you're not cutting it in the humidor, you walk out, I'm putting it in my mouth, I walk out, and I'm gonna go cut it. Oh fuck, now all of my saliva's on this. If I go put this on this communal cutter, or if they've got little cutters, the handhelds, and you go in,
Party now.
we'll talk about, don't do that later.
But what Mo's doing right there is spreading smallpox.
Yeah. Do not put your cigar in your mouth before you cut it. If it's your cutter, or like sometimes I do it to Dad's, but that's a different story.
Yeah, but with cutters, real quick, when you're in a cigar lounge, as far as I know, every cigar lounge has communal cutters. Sometimes it's a big base, sometimes they're spread out around the area. Sometimes it's a dude sitting on the table. And I've had guys walk up and just grab my cut. I really don't get wigged out. But if there's guys sitting there and say, hey, mind if I use a cutter? Guys don't care. In fact, they'll start a conversation. Don't panic about cutting your cigar, but also don't just be brash and just grab one that you know is, just be cool about
Be
it.
polite. It's a good atmosphere, good people. Just be polite. But that's really all you got to know in terms of in your humidor cigar picking and touching etiquette. Tyler's gonna take over from here.
Yeah, so once you've got your cigar and they've cut it for you and you're starting to light it, okay? Most of the time they'll light it for you, but I would suggest most people, if they're doing it for you, they might get it too hot, it might be too long. If you don't know what you're doing,
Can you be too long?
Yes, you can.
Fuck.
if it's your first time, let them do that for you because it's for the experience.
Ask questions.
Ask questions. Have them explain it to you so you know how to use it in the future for yourself. But as you're using lighters, if you have one, bring your own.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier when the cigar goes out or something happens at your own when you're sitting down enjoying the cigar now, like to not have to call someone over or go stand up
You
and
will need to
get it.
relight at some point.
Yeah, if you're smoking it correctly.
Yeah.
And they've talked about that here before. So, but along with that, as a communal lighter, if you're using one of their lighters and it goes out, let someone know because they need to take care of that for everyone else in the future or at your table, and they'll do that and they'll take care of that on their own. But don't use their lighter up and then just place it down and then the next person goes to light their cigar.
How many of people you're at Chili's you use the last of the ketchup? You just leave it
Pisses
there.
you off.
Come on, man. Tell the bartender you need more ketchup so the next guy doesn't have to,
Exactly.
Now,
throw his shoulder out shaking it.
they have these. These are just refillables. Little hack on the note of refilling a lighter. So the lighters use these torches. They're not one-time uses. You refill them. But when you want to refill them, you want to take, I got a little pencil here, something, the nose on the bottom, if you decompress that and let a little bit, you hear that hissing? That releases some air out, and then you can get your lighter all the way filled up, so you're just not half filling it. Just a little cigar smoking hack.
Well, and
next
true
time
story,
you're filling your lighter.
I've been smoking cigars for a long time, never knew that. And I'm at one of my favorite lounges, and the manager, I walked up, I said, hey, this one's out. And he did that, and I'm like, why are you doing that? And it just, I love it. I mean, because he is a rocket scientist. He goes, well, there's only so much space in this lighter, and it's either air or liquid. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna call you doctor from that. It was one of my opinions.
Hey, I'm a
But it's a great little hint.
Yeah. And then after so you're lighting, you're smoking, having a great time. Now you gotta start paying attention to your ash. So I got a decent one going here, but
Nice ash, by the way.
Nice ash.
So when you're smoking, only on days that end in Y. But when
there
you're
goes Saturday.
yeah.
We're not doctors.
So, but when you're sitting there and you're at someone else's place, you gotta pay attention, because when you're smoking, it's disrespectful to let this thing just hit the ground or a seat, because then they're dealing with burns, and it's gonna happen. But if you're being diligent, if you're being diligent, you know, when it gets long or you're getting to a point where it can just fall on its own, pay attention. There's ashtrays. There's literally gonna be an ashtray within reaching distance of everywhere you're sitting.
Should be, yes.
So just find the nearest one, give a little flick in there, and you're back into, and you're perfect. And you're not being disrespectful.
No, it is cool. You know, sometimes say, how long can I get my ash, my cigar? You know, there's a time and place to do that on your back porch or your buddy's back porch or somewhere.
On my deck.
Do that there. Don't do it in the lounge, because that shit gets everywhere, and it will happen to you if you watch the previous episodes. I was that burned. Shit happens. You know, I was that douche. Clean it up. Ask for a pan or take a piece of paper. Just don't leave it.
Or somebody, you know, never mind.
Especially if you're, and the other thing about it, not only is it not great for the environment of the place, but you don't really want ash on your clothes, especially if you're in a nicer place. It's gonna go down your pants.
Shit's hot.
And then now you got
nice shirts.
Exactly.
And Karen's like, oh, you're still wearing it. I'm like, come on. I'm wearing it. Another cool thing to do, I know we're doing don'ts right now, kind of, but a cool thing to do at a lounge, when you get your ashtray a little filled up, you'll find, you've been there a couple of times, you'll see where the ash dump is. Guess what? Go dump your ashtray. Be cool about that. Dump the other one. Help out, man, because one, no one ever gets paid enough for what they're worth, other than doctors. But everybody, you know, be cool. That ashtray is a big part of the smoking experience, and a dirty ashtray starts to smell and hurt your experience a little bit. So be cool about it.
Yeah. So now those are the don'ts of while you're sitting in the lounge, you're sitting down and you're enjoying your cigar. But the next don't is a habitual of this man right here.
The biggest offender in the world.
Yes. So
I'm gonna say don't do this, and you're probably gonna watch me do this because I'm in my smoking lounge, my northern
Tyler is in
right
your
now.
target range.
yeah. So don't do it right now.
Don't spit.
You know, I've been saying that since junior high.
They've been saying this is Spanish flu. Yeah. So
No, but for real.
No, for real.
Don't spit. And obviously, I'm talking about spitting on the floor as a general term. You should never, if you're in an establishment that you don't own, never spit on the floor. Doesn't matter what you're doing. That goes without being said. Again, it's going to be about a little bit later how much of this I keep drinking. I'm going to do it in my garage. I'll wash it. But I shouldn't. And if you go back and you think about, you know, pinkies out cigar smokers, because we're not pinkies out, we're not snobs, we're professional amateurs. There's a difference.
We do this for a hobby.
They say you shouldn't spit at all because you're losing some flavor, and it's kind of like a disrespectful. You don't go to a really, really nice steakhouse and order A1 sauce. That's hey, your steak's not good enough for me, I gotta mask it. Well, this cigar is not good enough, I gotta get rid of this taste.
Exactly right.
It's just, it's a habit of mine that I need to kick. But on that same note, it is a habit that a lot of people have and a lot of people want to do when they smoke. Not just because sometimes the lingering taste in your mouth isn't always what you like the best. You get used to it. I promise you. I've said that a couple times before.
Really?
But I mean, you guys probably talked about this, but one thing that leads to more spitting is a fast smoke.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
if you're puffing this
spot
thing
on.
down
Yep.
all the time, like that's what's going to lead to spitting because you're going to start tracing
Taste burn.
ash
Yeah.
and burn, not flavor.
I mean,
And
trust
that's
me, you want to spit then.
yeah. So it's Bo is that guy that likes to spit,
And
not
there
swallow.
are a
So.
few guys at lounges that
There it is.
that do spit, but they just like if you're chewing tobacco, they spit in a cup.
Yeah.
No big deal. Then.
Yeah.
Cool.
But also if you're doing that, know your area. If you can put a dip in, most of us here are ex-dippers. Cigars took that for me. Got my nicotine fix. But if you could put a spit cup on the table, then you can spit in a cup if you feel the need to from a cigar. But if you can't put a spit cup on the table,
Just don't.
don't spit. Suck it up. Enjoy. Buy a better cigar. Smoke slower. So there's kind of the don'ts. Here in a minute, we're gonna take a little hiatus.
Well, there was another don't I said earlier.
Yes.
Honestly, there is another don't, and Dad, take it.
Yeah. So, and I like making fun of Biden. He's low fruit, like Schumacher and Schumer and whatever. I hate that. I hate that I make the names. But no, you're getting into an eclectic group of folks at that cigar lounge, all walks of life, everything like that, and you're there for one purpose. That's to enjoy your stick, hopefully enjoy a drink, and certainly enjoy community. So kind of watch your conversation. Now you'll know when you're right there. We got one, we're all pretty lockstep, and there's more guns in that place that we're all carrying. In fact, it's almost a competition. That's great. We know the area. We know it. But if you're just sitting around and you're new and traveling, okay, I used to every time I traveled, I found microbreweries. My wife and I wineries. We hunt them out everywhere. We like that. So you're new, so you don't want a conversation to be anything divisive. You want it to be something everybody enjoys. And it doesn't have to be just about the weather. You have great conversations. I had a great conversation with a young man one time that could have been a complete fight. But we were both respectful. It was a wonderful talk. So
He tried to convince us that communism was the way to go.
yeah, he walked up and said that to me. This was in Northern Ireland. It was great. And we had a great time. Hugged when we were done. So it's just a matter, make jokes. Like, yeah, I wouldn't wear a Patriot shirt around here, but I wouldn't wear a Colt shirt. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
But no, but really, just kind of go there to enjoy yourself. If you're going there for a fight, people have a bar mentality sometimes. Don't take that to the lounge.
No.
You want to go to a bargain fight, go get your ass kicked at the bar.
It's called a lounge for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
It's called a lounge for a reason.
Yeah.
They're not cigar bars. There's some that say that, but if you're going to a specific lounge,
Yeah.
you're there for a certain atmosphere.
Yeah.
And the people there will kind of weed you out.
Quickly.
If you're going in there and you're wanting to size everyone up and do, you're not gonna, they'll weed you out.
Yeah, they will.
Which makes it all the more inviting to go to a cigar
That
lounge.
makes it, again, now you're going to run the expense for other people, and that pisses me off.
And you're gonna meet some people, like you said, you're gonna meet people that aren't like you. And if you're afraid of meeting someone that's not like you,
You got to get out more.
you gotta get out more, and that's your problem. So,
BATA. All right, we've covered what you don't do when you go to the cigar lounge. Now we're going to go into what you do when you get there.
You didn't say doo-doo. I was waiting for
Doo-doo.
you to
You want to
say
do-doo? I'm not Chandler.
He said doo-doo. I taught junior high for years. Great. They're the smartest people in the world.
balls.
He said doo-doo. Long.
Well, our first don't was don't feel intimidated. Okay, when you get there, and great ways of doing that is asking questions. These guys are gonna love you and especially when you ask and you want to know and you want to learn and educate yourself. So ask questions. Ask, hey, what should I get? This is my first time. How does it work? So find the people that either work there or a guy that looks inviting, and ask questions. And just
Believe it or not, I do look inviting. My favorite question to ask, and I consider myself a professional amateur when it comes to my alcohol
And he
and
does
cigars.
ask this.
I asked three brand new people yesterday I just met.
We went to a cigar lounge. for the
Cigar
first
Lounge
time.
last night. Yeah, we hit up a new one. Great place. We'll talk about that later episode. No, I asked, hey, what are you smoking? Hey, what are you drinking? And I ask you, why did you pick that? And it's okay, and we've covered this in episodes, and this is kind of the premise on what started, this YouTube channel was, I want to know about myself, and to do that, I want to know what you guys like. And then I challenge people. So I'm like, I tell them, hey, well, this is what I do, this is what I'm passionate about. I am completely infatuated with knowing why you like what you like. And I challenge people, and I'll ask them, we'll Google it, we'll research it, and then...
So this is a journey of self-realization.
Yes, this is spiritual for me.
But if you don't know, ask.
Well,
Because
and so many times people they kind of know, but they've never given it really thought.
Right.
And like, and all that does is that just opens you up for more good stuff. I think.
And
Yes.
and people like talking about what they know and like helping you know, because it's a fucking experience.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, so if you don't know what to smoke, or you're getting in there for the first time, like ask around. Hey, what's a popular one? What's one that guys that hey, I'm new to this. What should I really?
What do you smoke?
Yeah.
If you know something you don't like, tell them that too, so they're not just fishing in the dark.
Yeah. So asking questions is the best way to feel like connected to the place pretty quickly.
Yeah. And guys will be at ease that way, because then they're going to really give you their opinion. And so far, everybody I've met has an opinion.
So we touched on earlier. Joe's not been to Cigar Lounge. Joe joined us for a previous.
We're gonna pop that
We're
cherry.
gonna pop that cherry soon.
Okay.
Joe joined us for a previous episode. We had some technical difficulties, had to refilm it. He wasn't able to make the refilm.
So that was my second time.
But what's really cool is Joe's newer into cigars, and Joe's asked some fantastic questions and been the inspiration for a lot of our topics that we've already done and written down to come in the future, because he's, for one, obviously a smart dude.
Well, Dr. Moriarty inspired Sherlock Holmes.
It's true. That's true.
But yeah, no, he's asking great questions. That's fucking key.
So a good question I have, going to a cigar lounge, how long should you be there? I mean, what should you expect time-wise?
Well, Joe, we're going to be here for 10 hours.
I don't believe that. From last time, I'm just
Well, Joe, my experience, 3 minutes is a great time.
As long as he can last.
That means you have 57 minutes left to play games.
Anything longer than that, the commercial's over. Come on.
Well, I know normally when I go, if I'm just going to have one stick, you're going to be there at least an hour. I mean, minimum, even if you get the shortest stick they've got, you're going to be there at least an hour. If you're going to go in and have 2 or 3, you might as well plan on 2 to 3 hours. If you want to allocate your time before you go in, know what your plans are. If you're going in, say, before dinner, then allocate your hour and a half, smoke one stick and go. If you're going in just to hang out, socialize, and enjoy yourself, you might smoke 2 or 3, so you want to allocate 2 or 3 hours to stay there. You don't want to go in 15 minutes before closing time.
No, you don't. And I said no closing time. And why is that important?
And closing time, once you're in there and you know people and you've been in a few times, it's like going to the bar. They might say, well, go ahead and sit and finish your drink while we close up.
Not going to serve you anymore.
Not going to serve you anymore, but, you go ahead and buy that last cigar 15 minutes before. You can sit here for an hour or so and we'll shoot the shit while we clean up and do that kind of stuff. But your first time in, if you're there at closing time, you want to be respectful and you want to just get up and leave.
They'll invite you to stay.
They'll invite you to stay when they get to know you well enough and you're a good fit.
But on that, kind of on that same note, on a time crunch, because when you have that hour and 45 minutes before dinner and you finished your first stick a little over an hour, fuck, I'm going to light my second stick up because you still got some time.
But he's always late for dinner anyway.
Yeah, fashionably. No, we talked about it. It was the most fun episode, one of the most fun episodes when I made my dad and my other buddy Joey, not this Joe, smoke really fast.
That was a blast.
Don't try to hurry through your cigar. When you hit your time limit, you got to go. Just put your cigar down and go. But don't try to finish it because you're just gonna ruin your mouth and ruin that cigar, and you're not gonna like it again.
And when I first started smoking, we were doing that, and one of the first real big things we did was a big vacation, bunch of buddies. My gosh, you were very young, and the lady on the boat, cigar lounge, would cut our cigars off so we can come back later and relight them, and that wasn't too bad. So then we came home, and we would have to stop, and we would cut them off, and a couple days later we'd come back and relight them. And we fought through them, but I don't recommend that at all.
If you do, you got about an hour, 2 hour
Yeah.
window, and then
Then don't try it again, because it's not a pleasure.
don't sober up and then try it again. All right. You roll into a cigar lounge. We talk about talking to people, going in, and being nice, and you know the friendly environment. But I'm gonna throw an asterisk up there, and I don't do this. I'm not privileged enough. You know, I work in manufacturing where I have to be on the floor.
I work in manufacturing.
Yeah, you're the president. No, some people, you know, the cigar is an experience. A lot of people talk about, two guys last night we met, you know, they like cigars because it makes you sit down and you're just sitting. You're smoking a cigar. I'm not doing 100,000 things.
Oh, the one dude, he was getting away from work because
Yeah.
he works his ass off.
On the other end of that, when my dad, or you'll see them, and he'll talk about it here in a second, some people go to the cigar lounge as an escape from people. So kind of take it in. Dad lays it out the
Yeah,
best.
and I've got a couple cigar lounges that I frequent quite a bit that I really like, and they're very different. But the one I started going to as work started slamming up in the cold weather, and you know, fortunate enough now I got a smoking room inside, but I didn't have it, and I had a lot of work I needed to get done. I didn't want any phone calls. I didn't want anybody by my door, so I'd go to the cigar lounge and I'd take off, and I would get there, and as I've gotten to know these guys the last few years, they were fantastically cool, and I thought I was cool, and I was very respectful. I would get in the corner, I'd get my laptop going, and start doing my work, and they would say hey or like that, but they left me alone because I wasn't trying to be rude. But I was focusing on work, and they were great about it. And then slowly I would go on to other days because I wanted to get drawn in. But I've gone to the point to where I've brought customers, I've brought vendors in, and with a lot of my senior staff, if we're having a really important discussion, we either do it on my deck or we do it smoking. And even if they don't smoke now, if they're not keen to the smoking, I don't do that. But we would go there and I'd have meetings. And I'm gonna tell you about this. There's one lounge on the south side. The guys there are so fantastic. I'd walk in with someone that knew was business, and I'd sit in a couple different chairs. I don't have a regular chair there, but they would see that, and the dudes would give us. I mean, they'd even go outside. They would give us space because I was working there, man. And you can't pay for that.
You can't expect that either.
You never expect that. No, and I didn't.
But that's the
expect
type of people you run into.
That's the type of people that are at a cigar lounge because you're sharing the same experience. So,
But then you and I would roll in, and we initiate it, and then we're right there talking.
and then sometimes you're going to be there and they're going to be playing cards or a game or whatever, invite you in, and they're going to say, hey, we're cooking food. You want some food and stuff like that. I don't eat when I smoke, but I enjoy while the guys eating around me, and so you get drawn in. But I went to a cigar lounge. We had a trade show in Nashville, Tennessee. We have a Nashville here that's very popular. That's why we say Tennessee. Everybody's like, really? Nashville, Tennessee? You're moron. And my wife and the staff, they all wanted some type of food that I won't eat. And so they dropped me off this cigar lounge, and I knew I was wanting to watch a game. And I knew it was a sports bar, so I get in there. It's cool. It's a microbrewery, cigar lounge, sports bar, sommelier. It was a great place. So then I use the restroom. So I go around the back corner, and they have what they call the library. And in the back part, they had this quiet area that we reserved. And not that you couldn't talk there, but guys were on laptops, guys were in meetings, first date. I don't know about first date, but it was more intimate setting. But it was really cool to see that kind of setup. So it's a real special place, all centered around a cigar. And I romanticize about back in the 20s and stuff where you'd have this dinner, and after dinner the plates were cleared and the cigars came out, and the brandies or the bourbons came back out, and then you conducted business. Oh my gosh, I think it was great.
The lingering question, and thinking from a new cigar, we were talking about this right before we turned the cameras on, and Joe, I think, hit it on the head. You go to a Starbucks. It's the same type of deal. It's just coffee, not cigars.
Yeah.
But who do you go, Dad? I want you've been to more cigar lounges than me. How do you know what you have to read people? But talk about what you're going to see. Coffee lounge. People there to work. People there to socialize. And if you're new and you want to socialize, you don't want to walk up to the person who doesn't want to, and that's going to ruin your experience. They're not going to be rude or anything like that. but you're gonna get the hint real fast.
Well, yeah, I couldn't tell you the coffee lounge if it's not gas station coffee. It's fine with me. I'm a snob in other areas of liquor or liquids, but not
You're a
coffee.
professional amateur.
Yeah. But, first off, have some savvy. If a guy's by himself, and it's funny, we've got a doctor, ER doctor and a private practice doctor. He comes in and fills out his reports almost every day before he goes home. He's a pipe smoker. Don't hold that against him. But he comes in, lights up his pipe, and he puts his laptop, and we know the dude's doing work. He's got to fill these things in. He didn't want to cross-reference, left leg, right leg, that'd be bad. So, and then when he gets done, he's pretty cool. He'll chit-chat for a little bit, but he's got to get going. He's got to get going home or maybe back to the ER, I don't know. So you got to be savvy when you walk in. And if guys are playing cards and they're into it, leave them alone. Asking questions is great. There's enough other guys to ask questions. Don't interrupt something. Certainly don't walk up and just grab that plate of food. I mean, but people, just like have some savvy, and you'll see it, and they'll make eye contact. Eye contact's the best thing. And there's always that guy sitting there just wanting to ask me a question.
Yeah.
Ask me something. And you do, and I tell you, one of the biggest icebreakers is, and this is not a false flag, but if you're new and kind of uncomfortable, walk in right away and go, hey, I'm going to get a cigar, but man, where's the bathroom? And the person that is quickest to jump up and say, oh, the bathroom's right over here, I'll meet you at the humidor. I mean, almost always, hey, now you know, now boom, now I know who to talk to right there. And, that's the way in.
But if he says, here, let me show you.
I'll take it for you.
Yeah, it's
Tyler's asking questions. I read a really good book about a year ago, and the elephant in the room. Fucking address it. Hey guys, my first time here. I'm getting new to cigars. I need some help.
And that takes a bold person, dude.
It does.
That's
but,
cool if you do it. Everybody's like, dude, you're awesome.
But yeah, if you can do that, yeah. So that pretty much covers what you want to.
The only thing we didn't hit, and this is something that you do everywhere else, basically, especially in America. Now, if you're watching overseas, it's a little different over there.
It is
but
crazy.
Which is insane. But tip.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, the guy that helps you show the bathroom, if doesn't look good, don't tip him.
Depends what time he might try to tip you.
and by the way, I've never seen in a cigar lounge. Let me just get a pet peeve out right here. Why the fuck is a guy in the bathroom handing me a towel and a mint? I hate that.
Yeah,
There's a few things in this world I hate more than I guess it used to be a thing. Dude, I mean, I don't know. Why do they do that? We got to research that.
Your sommelier, I like the cigar dude better.
Bathroom sommelier?
Your cigar.
That sounds elegant.
You go to burn, and you walk into the humidor, and a guy walks in behind you, asks, "Hey, any questions?" And they're always at burn. Again, we're gonna go there. We're gonna take you there. I think it's one of the best, the higher end. It's awesome.
You do good, Rocky. Very good. Now come visit us.
Yes. But you go in, and there's a couple guys that'll go in, and those are the guys who ring you up in there, and they'll cut your cigar for you, to ask you your cut preference and all of that. But you're gonna spend about 5 minutes with them.
Yeah.
Okay. When you cash out in there, you can give a tip. Tip them, because for one, you ask them questions, but the knowledge base that person has. I mean, they are professionals. And you talk about, we're amateurs. We're professional amateurs. Sure. No, they're professionals. That's what they do for a living. They've researched cigars. They know everything.
They should be rewarded as such.
They should be rewarded as such. So there's our do's and don'ts. We can talk about this shit all the time. We do talk about this shit all the time. But what it comes down to is you just gotta fucking go.
Do it. That's the number one do.
Do it.
Do go.
Plan it. If you're comfortable going alone, do it. If you're not, you smoke with someone. It's always easier to do something with someone else. So plan it. Go to Cigar Lounge, be cool, be polite, and fucking enjoy your experience. Because honestly, everything we talk about, it's about the experience, and that's what we're gonna have is the best experience. So, BATA, have a great time. Enjoy your Cigar Lounge experience.
Bye.
Bye.